Pakistan as well. I say, okay, guys. Since we have people from outside Pakistan as well, we'll strictly keep this whole session in English. Okay. So basically, first of all, welcome to the session. The first, I won't exactly call it a lecture. The first session for Train to Trade, and I'm not exactly if you received the slides and all this thing, but we have a set of slides. If you haven't received them, you will get them by the end of the session. Okay. Uh, so guys, there are two ways we can carry out this session. Okay. One is the conventional way. The conventional way is I keep speaking, you keep listening. Okay. The second and the preferred way is let's make this interactive. Now, interactive means basically we both talk. Okay, I can see you guys are basically typing, so you have the right to, if you are basically, if you have a question in between, feel free to open your mic, or you have the option to raise your hand over here. Feel free to raise your mic, sorry, open your mic and ask any question that you have in between. Okay, stop me in between if you cannot hear me, if you cannot understand something, though the things are very conceptual, and I don't think you will have a problem. But if you do have a problem, without being shy, without being basically thinking, because too many, probably to all of you, this would be a whole new thing. You might not have done this before. All you might be basically graduates or actually enrolled into your post graduation and all this thing, but this is something which is very much related to the industry. So this might be very much new for you. So feel free to stop me if you are losing me somewhere. And before we start, I have a question basically. What are your expectations? What are your basically goals of actually enrolling for this course? What are you trying to achieve? And I need answer for this, guys. Just do not stay quiet, okay? For my other audience, basically, हम लोग क्या चाह रहे हैं? What is our main aim? Guys, you're supposed to answer that. Anyone, please. Still waiting.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm a student of business management, so I have an expectation from this course is that I want to learn about trading and management
Okay.
and about
Further, what type of trading are
investment,
we looking at?
buying, selling that will help in my business
About
in
investment.
future. Yeah, about investment, the capital, where should we invest?
Okay.
I'm
And
hoping to learn about
have you
that.
basically ever thought something like this? That's cool. And have you actually ever thought basically what type of business you want to do?
Yeah, I have a plans and project that might help me. Clothing, especially clothing business. I'm on to that.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Guys, tell me this thing. Since you all of you are attending the session, there might be a time in your life that you are basically, I think everybody gets a time in their life that they have this, the spirit kicks in and they want to somehow try to do a business. Okay. Everybody has this passion. Now the question is basically when you're trying to actually step into the entrepreneurial world or the business world. Okay. The normal procedure is you will actually either search from your own expertise or you will talk to people around and you will try to ask which is one of the easiest selling product with the highest profit. This is very natural. Something that you can do as well. So there are 3-4 constraints to what business you want to do. You want to one thing, basically you what you're doing. Second thing would be basically you want to basically you're constrained by the investment. you're not exactly sure that the investment that you're making, like, is it affordable for you or not. So you want to actually start a business that is budget friendly, that is according to your budget. Okay. And last thing is, like, again, you want to do a business that can give you good income. Okay. The concept that we are introducing today of general trading, it is completely, maybe you have heard this before. We heard this before. Quite frankly, when I heard about this concept, it was very new to me. Okay. I After my education, I moved back to Pakistan, and I was heading a finance department of a company back in Pakistan. And there, I just decided that one day, out of blue, I was talking to people and all this. It's not exactly out of blue. In the subconscious mind, the whole idea of doing business was building in. So we decided that if some one day we will do business. Now, the people I was talking to, every next person I would talk to, he would give me a whole different idea. Okay. Of course, they were giving ideas according to their experiences. Somebody was telling me to go into clothing. Somebody was telling me to open a software house, or everybody who has their own experiences, they was telling me something new. Guys, this was very confusing because first thing, because of the budget constraint, of course, I cannot do all the businesses. Second thing, when you talk about business to other people, when you hear their stories and all this thing, it sounds very fun. As in, it sounds like this is the best business for you until you talk to the next person, and he would explain you in a way that you feel like that business is the best one for you. Okay. So the more you talk to people, the more advices you get, and quite frankly, the more confused you get as well. Okay. Guys, I will ask you this question after probably every 2 minutes because of the dead silence. Am I audible? Can you all hear me? Just write yes or say yes, open your mic, or do whatever you want to.
Yes, sir.
I just want to make
You
sure
are
I'm not talking to
totally
myself.
audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, guys. So, guys, this is the story. Anyway, so I was trying to do business and all this, and basically, I was trying to look into things of how we can actually do something. And during this time, we have it would you'll find this funny, but somebody told us, like, dealing into clothes was a very good idea. So what we did was we started, like, procuring clothes, as in, like, we didn't want to directly jump into manufacturing of clothes ourselves. So what we did was that we started buying clothes from a vendor, and we started selling to an Indian buyer. So we were basically exporting from Pakistan to India. So that was one thing. And then somebody told us again, all these whole companies of website designing and logo designing and all these things, these were very good. And we're like, yeah, good idea. So we wanted to jump into this thing. But fortunately, this is a personal thing I'm sharing. This has nothing to do with this whole lecture thing. Okay. Fortunately, it happened that I had to take a family trip to Dubai, and there, when I was in Dubai, okay, I was um, I was with my family, and it just happened that my dad was busy somewhere, and his friend was supposed to come in the hotel to visit him. So he just asked me. He was like, my dad just told me that my friend is coming. So what you can do is you can just sit by the time I get free for like 5, 10, 15 minutes. You can just cater him, just sit down with him and talk to him. So as soon as I get free, I will join you guys. Like, okay, that's cool. So guys, this friend came in the way. We were sitting in the meeting area, and of course, it was his, you can say, sort of a business acquaintance. But we were just sitting over there, and just to break the ice, or just to start a conversation, because there was this awkward silence. So I asked this guy. I was like, the traditional Pakistani way. I asked him, "Uncle, what do you do?" It's a very traditional thing in Pakistan. Every senior person we see, we call him uncle. So I asked him uncle, and he was like, I'm into the business of journal trading. Like, okay. And then there was this dead silence for again like 2 minutes, because I did not want to look like a fool. of asking him what is general trading. I had no clue what general trading was back then. But again, out of my curiosity, after 2 minutes, I asked, I was like, if you don't mind, I do not exactly know what is general trading. Can you try to tell me this thing? And he gave me a very brief description. He's like, we are basically buying and selling everything. And I'm like, how can you buy and sell everything? He's like, we are not exactly producer of anything, and then we are not exactly buyer of anything as well. We take the demand from the market. We look for the suppliers of these products. We procure these products, and then we sell it to the buyers. Okay. So he was just telling me this thing that for the suppliers, the word suppliers word, we are the buyers, and for the buyers, we are actually the suppliers. And I was like, what are you exactly then? He's like, we are called intermediaries. We are the middlemen. So, for example, A person has a demand for shoes. Okay, what they do is, let's say from Italy. Okay, they will buy the shoes themselves per pair. Okay, and then they will sell the shoes to this buyer anywhere in the world for, let's say, $12. Okay, so I was like, okay, understandable. Guys, the only charm of this business that I found was that we were struggling to basically get into a field of entrepreneurship or get into a field of business where we couldn't shortlist our business product. We did not exactly know in which domain to operate in or in which product to deal in. So we were struggling with this thing. The minute I talked to this guy, I think it was a, you can say, sort of a lucky meeting or something, because this whole concept was cleared and I exactly knew what I wanted to do. I did not want to get myself stuck into a small frame of products. I did not want to deal in clothes. I didn't want to deal in technological stuff and all this. I wanted to deal in different products. And these different products means basically like, for example, if I was dealing into clothes, if one product fails, not exactly fail, if one product is not operating as well or it needs time to develop, at least my other products are operating better. Some products are fast moving goods, some products are slow but they give you very high profits, so you have to balance them. This is the whole idea, the basic idea that I got for entrepreneurship. Guys, someone from your side has his mic open. Can you please check that? It's Muzammil. Thank you, host. So now what is the whole scenario that we are talking about? Guys, most of you, when it comes to your basically point of view, you are actually in point of life where I was some years ago, where you are still trying to understand, or if you want to do business, you're still trying to find out a product for yourself, and you're not exactly sure in which product you should operate in. Okay, I was in the same point in life. Okay, luckily, I was introduced to the concept of general trading. Conventionally, any even probably going to entrepreneurial teacher who teaches entrepreneurship, or going to any successful businessman and all this thing, you go there, they will tell you a specific product or a specific service that you should operate in. Guys, we are trying to change this whole concept. We are not telling you to stay specific. We are telling you to have a portfolio of product, more than one product. Okay, not even more than one product, actually have many products and then specialize into few products. Okay, in the start you will have probably 10 products, then you will specialize into 2 3 products, then until you add new products as well, of course. So this is the thing. We'll go into bits of details and all this thing in a bit, but I just wanted to give you a background. Currently, guys, we have this company by the name of Trade Turner. Okay, and it's again, like I said, I am practicing what I'm preaching as well. So it's a journal trading company. I will just give you an idea of the profitability part. Okay, do not get this thing, I mean, do not get stuck to the idea that whatever I'm telling you, it will happen the same way to you as well. But guys, we started this company with the investment of Pakistani PKR 80,000 rupees, Pakistani rupees. Okay, that is roughly $600. Okay, roughly $600, and by almost, I wouldn't exactly even say two. So I'm talking about 2015 January. We started this company in January, mid-January of 2017. We had the audit of this company. Okay, and we wanted to do, because it was a private limited company registered in UK. So we wanted to have an audit. It was a compulsion on us, and there we actually had audit for valuation as well. So guys, by January 2017, that is almost like 2 years, 2 years and a few days, the company was valued at $8.35 million, and we started with hardly $650. Okay. The beauty of this thing is that this whole concept, especially if you're operating in the service sector, okay, you do not have to basically, have a lot of cash. It's not required. Very, very, very basic amounts, and that's because, quite frankly, you are into the service sector. You're not into making of a product. If you're into making of a product, especially when you are dealing into products, you might have heard of a concept of bleeding budget, where you have to market, you have to give free samples or do extensive marketing, and a lot of budget is required, and you might not be able to compete with the giants in the industry. With this thing, with the service industry, basically we have almost all the world open to us in a very, very small budget, something that you would not even consider an investment for your business. Okay, that's one thing. Guys, this is basically the story. By the way, I was telling you the valuation for 2017. After that, it kept growing. So guys, this is basically the valuation for, sorry, the story for general trading for my end. I'm sure by the time we finish this thing, you will have your own stories, inshallah, as well. So that's one thing. Second thing, guys, expectation from the course. Okay, we do not, as you might have seen in the flyer, we have 12 sessions. Okay, 12 sessions. Basically, every Sunday we will have a session until there might be something, some sort of a problem with us or something like this, that we might have to shift it to another day, or might have to do an extra Sunday, something like this. We are planning for 12 Sunday sessions. Okay, every Sunday, probably same time as well. Not all the sessions are taken by me. I have some other basically directors and managers from my company who specialize into different aspects of the company as well. They would be conducting your session as well. Okay, I am giving you basic idea, and I will join you again. Um, I think one or two sessions are taken by another person. His name is Abdullah. One might be taken by Shazad. It's related to taxation. So the thing is, guys, I can do all these sessions. Okay, I have been doing this. I can do all these sessions. But the point is, it is better that the person who is specializing into this field, who is looking after, let's say, taxation in the company, should tell you about the associated tax and basically how to most effectively deal into your products to minimize your taxations. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, guys. Second thing that possible is of this thing that you might have seen in the flyer. We are taking you through an introductory level, and the most important part would be we are teaching you how to get buyers and how to get suppliers for your business. This is something most of the people are like, we'll listen to the lectures. Guys, listening to the lecture is not just enough. Okay, we have to teach you how to get the buyers and suppliers. The minute you start selling and making money, this is where it gets interesting. Otherwise, it would be a regular lecture that you might have heard before or that you might will hear in the future before, but it would be of no use. Okay. So I think without any further ado, let's move to our lecture part. Okay. And again, I will tell you this thing for people who have joined. Guys, if you do not understand anything, or if you're lost somewhere, or if you are, if maybe if I'm not audible, you know, just stop me in between. Okay. So, guys, before we move, we'll ask the magical question. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are audible. No, you are not audible. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay, guys. Can we move to the basically the whole slideshow thing? Can we do the F5 thing? Thank you. Thank you. So, guys, again, do not consider it's just called lecture one because I did not want to use the word session one. Let's call it lecture one, guys. By the way, we will hardly have three, four, maximum 4 to 5 lectures. Okay, and after that, it's 100% practical. Basically, whatever we are teaching you, we will give you. We'll try to explain you about uh, how to get buyers, and then we'll tell you all the platforms, and then you will, for the rest of the week till we meet again, you will go look for buyers and then share your experiences, basically what problems did you face and how we can help you. Okay, so this is how it's going to go. That's one thing. Okay, guys, let's start with this thing. So, guys, today we are covering basically the introduction to general trading and Incoterms. What are Incoterms? You will find them out when we actually come to this thing. Let's actually quickly cover the concept of general trading. Okay, guys, tell me this thing. Do you have a pen and a paper in front of you? Everybody,
Yes, sir.
you have a pen and a paper?
Yes,
Okay, that's
sir.
good. You'll need this for a quick thing. You will need this. Okay. Can we
Okay,
move to the
sir.
next slide? Okay, guys. So basically, general trading. On the next slide, you will see basically what we'll cover today. Only three very basic things. Okay. Uh, can you see the next slide? Guys, sometimes it happens that the host is running the slide, and yeah, sometimes it's like I might not be able to see the slide. So just bear with me, okay? So, guys, so what exactly we are covering today? This is it. What is the basic difference between general trading and conventional trading? What is exactly ICC, or what we call International Chamber of Commerce, and how exactly it is operating, and what is its role in general trading? That's second thing. And guys, lastly, basically, we have to discuss the Incoterms. What are Incoterms? So this might be something very new for you, but we'll discuss them. Okay, let's move to the next one. Let's cover this quickly. What is general trading, guys? Okay, let's move to the slide after this as well. Okay, guys, before I even start, why I ask you for a pen and a paper? This is a very quick task for you. Just in front of you, there is no right or wrong answer. There's nothing like this. In front of you, quickly write on pen or paper only 3 points. What do you think is the difference between general trading and conventional trading? Conventional trading is like the normal trading that everybody does. Okay, just according to you, just write 3 points, one line, nothing big. It's 4:40. I'll ask you again at 4:42. We have 2 minutes, write 3 points. Guys, are we done?
Yes, sir.
So guys, who wants to start? Any point? Jarok, you want to start?
Yes, sir.
Just one point. Okay.
Sir, general trading is food, textile, and other items is import export. And conventional trading is like a drugs, medicine, like a government trading.
Okay. That's good. Okay, guys, like I just said, there is no right or wrong answer. You're just explaining it according to your understanding. Okay. So who wants to go next? Shares?
Yes, sir.
Ji.
So we basically sell everything in general trading. We buy everything in general trading. We buy
Okay.
pen to plane, everything.
Okay, Shares. Thank you. What about conventional trading?
Sir, conventional trading is that it specifies on one area. Basically focus on one area. That if someone is doing conventional trading, he or she might be have one product and one area to the specific task.
Okay.
So this is
Okay.
conventional trading.
So basically, what Shadiz is saying is like, in general trading, you're not specific to a product. In conventional trading, you deal into a specific product. Is this correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Guys, who wants to go next?
So can I?
Yes, please.
Yes, I general trading. You're not surrounded by boundary of submitted products. You have to sell anything. So you're not surrounded by some limited products like any mart. You are surrounded by limited products.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Now, this is exactly like, something what Shadiz said as well. So you are absolutely right. This is fine. I think Jamila wants to something. Jamila, you want to contribute? I just saw her message. Not exactly sure if she's here. Anyway, guys, anyone else? We have not heard from the ladies over here. Oh, Jamila, finally, yes. Jamila, no,
Sir?
yes, yes, yes,
Yes, sir.
Javidia.
Yeah, sir. General trading is basically retailing on a small business trading, like small
Okay.
business targeting the customers, and
Hmm.
conventional trading, I guess, all about selling products to big houses.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yes and no. But again, this is completely according to your understanding. So it's perfect. So we have covered Javidia as well. So guys, we have a lot of name over here as well. I see Salman, Mustafa, Muzammil, Mohsen, Haris. Guys, anything, any point, and then we move forward. Okay, quickly. Last point. Anyone? Anyone? Manisha?
Mustafa here. Uh,
Yes.
the two things like general trading and conventional. So I think the basic point is that in general trading we don't go for for the manufacturing of any product. We are just buying or selling the products that are already available in the market. Whereas in conventional trading, I think we have to manufacture or we have to make the products.
Okay. Okay. So basically, we have two different points now. Okay. One was that it's not specific to a product, and conventional is specific to a product. And secondly, you are saying you do not manufacture, you just buy it from other suppliers. Is this it, Mustafa?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, guys. We'll move to the next slide and we'll discuss this thing. Okay. So, guys, on the next slide, uh, are we on the next slide? Thank you. Guys, on this slide, basically, as you can see, we will differ the whole concept of general trading to conventional trading in from 6 different point of view. Okay, quickly we'll discuss this. Okay, guys, first thing, who are the buyers in general trading, who are the suppliers, and who are the intermediaries? These 3 points are connected. Okay, guys, in general trading, as I told you, we take the demand. Okay, we take the demand from the market, and let's say we agree on some product. Okay, I at this moment I am not a producer of anything. I'm not manufacturing anything. I am not providing service anything. If you might have seen real estate agents or any freelancing agents, these people are apart, not exactly general traders, but they are actually basically operating into almost the same industry. Okay. In this thing, basically, I pick the demand from the market of a buyer, what they want to buy. Okay. And I am showing the buyer that I am their supplier. Okay. For example, if a buyer needs, let's say, phones would be outdated example, or if a buyer has a contract for that he needs 100,000 stationery, let's say pens or pencils per month. Okay. I'll tell the buyer that I can provide this to you. Okay. And then I have a pool of data with me of suppliers who are supplying stationery items like pens and pencils and everything. Okay. And I will try to match the rate of the buyer with the supplier. Let's say the buyer says, I want to buy 100,000 pens at, let's say, $10,000. I'd be like, okay. Then I look at the data of my suppliers and I see which supplier is actually offering me 100,000 pens for less than $10,000. Not even $10,000 because I'm not doing a charity work over here. I want to actually procure this from the supplier in on a lower amount. So I will actually see which supplier is offering me for like 8,000, 7,000, or even 9,000. Okay. So I will look for the supplier over here. So if I find a supplier, let's say, who's supplying me for 9,000, guys, all I need to do is I need to take this from the supplier. Okay. Give it to the buyer, take the money from the buyer and give it to the supplier and save 1,000 in between. Okay. This is a normal thing. So we have a buyer. Okay. For the buyer, you are the supplier. And then we have a supplier. And for the supplier, the real supplier of pens, you are actually the buyer because you are taking the goods from him. Okay. What are you exactly? You are an intermediary. You are a middleman. Okay. You are a middle company. You are commission agent if you want to call yourself that. Okay. The right word to say is intermediary. Now, guys, it's not exactly as easy as I just told you because there are many questions in between. Why would the supplier give you goods without money? Okay, because there are hardly any buyers. I don't think there would not be buyers, there would be angels if they give you advance payments. So it's not exactly possible. So, guys, it's not exactly as easy, but how we deal, there are financial instruments involved in everything, and we will discuss them in probably our second lecture, not today, but that is where it gets crucial. Okay, most people are actually stuck over there, how to deal with them. So, guys, basically conventional trading, general trading, like I just said, like even some of our colleagues said over here, it's not limited to a product. It's not specific to a product. You do not have to actually operate into one scope or one field of product. You have multiple options. You can deal into many different things. That's one thing. Okay, covering point till point three. Point number four, guys, the option of inventory. Basically, in this thing, in a conventional business, you have to have an inventory. Even the shortest way of inventory is just in time inventory, what we call the JITs. Okay, even just in time inventory, you have to have inventory. In basically this general trading concept, you do not hold inventory. Okay, you only order for a certain industry, from a certain industry, for a certain product when you have a demand. Okay, and then you directly supply. You do not even hold it for a day. So that's second biggest difference. The third one, be basically products to deal in. The choice of product is not limited, like we discussed above. It's not specific. Okay, you have a wide variety of product. You might want to develop a product. Guys, if you ask me personally about my portfolio, I'm dealing into crude oil, I'm dealing into metal scrap, I'm dealing into biofuels, and I'm dealing into the other edible oils as well. Okay, So let's say the whole market for crude oil crashes in the world. Let's say, like, the OPEC countries, the oil producing exporting countries, or if there is, God forbid, if there's a war or something like this, the oil market is affected. If the oil market is affected, I am still operating into metals as well. And then I'm still operating into basically the edible oils as well. Yes, there would be fluctuation, prices up and down. But if one market crashes, like the crude oil market crashes or the metal market crashes, I have other products. I have developed a portfolio in a way where I divide my risk. Two products are not correlated. They do not basically concern each other, or they do not even complement each other. If one market is down, the other market is still sustainable. Guys, the last point is basically the difference between FMCG companies. Basically, mostly people, when I say multiple products, they say company like P&G or Unilever and all this, and they have a huge line of product. They are into the washing detergents as well. They are into, like, let's say, food items as well. They're into ice creams and daily grocery items as well. So guys, yes, it's a company, but understand this thing. The nature of this company is actually to make a brand and sell their brand and stick to those brands. They can even put in more brands. They might have hundreds of products. Okay, but this is one company which has many products. It's not a general trading company because they are still producing those products. Okay, this is one of the biggest difference between conventional and general traders, that we do not produce product. Okay, we just procure it from somewhere else. Guys, are you guys still with me? Sleeping,
Yes, sir.
dead,
Yes, sir.
bored?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So
Okay, dead,
Yes.
bored, sleeping. Guys, yes for dead, yes for bored, or yes for sleeping? Okay,
Yes, for
I
listening to
understand.
you.
Yes,
Yes, for good.
yes for listening. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, guys, let's move to the next one. Okay, guys, this is right till now we were just discussing very basic stuff. Guys, from here onwards, you know, we do not need a pencil and a pen or paper. Just keep them aside. And this part might be a bit boring, but just listen to me, okay? This one, because this one is important and it would be used throughout your trading life. So, guys, there is this thing called International Chamber of Commerce. Okay, I have just written down, guys, these slides. I will of course provide you in the WhatsApp group. This is for you to go back and review them. Okay, I'm not going to read this out to you, but I will just explain you briefly. So, guys, basically, International Chamber of Commerce, it's like, in every field that you're operating, you always have. I think somebody is playing with my slide. Anyway, so in every field that you're operating, guys, you always have someone, businesses, people who are trying to influence trade. Okay, if you are from Pakistan, you have this whole body of FPCCI. It's Federation of Pakistan Chamber of Commerce and Industries. It's a very big name. Okay, it's a federation. It's a national, basically, chamber of commerce. And if you talk about Karachi, you have KCCI, Karachi Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Guys, these chamber of commerce are basically a group of businessmen, okay, who are collectively sitting in one building, in one room, and they are discussing the problems that they're facing. And because they are collectively sitting, and this includes from literally a small shop owner to all the big business people in the market as well, since they are sitting collectively, they can actually negotiate their problems or their concerns or their feedback with the government officials as well. Okay, and when they pitch it collectively, the good part is basically that the government is kind of, I don't want to use the word pressurized, but the government is bound to listen to them because they are the backbone of the economy. Okay, so guys, in basically 1919, 1919, there were basically a group of some businessmen, and they came together, and then they were like, because we are doing international trade and all this thing, we need to basically form a body where we will set rules. Of course, powerful businessmen, and they were like, we'll set rules where these rules would be followed all over the world. They might not have thought it would be followed all over the world, but they came up with the rules in order to make sure that everybody benefits from them. Okay, so this was individual stuff from 1919 until 2016 that ICC, or International Chamber of Commerce, was actually basically granted the observer status in UN. Okay, this means basically that the World Trade Organization, which is a part of United Nations, they are basically asking for the help of ICC. Okay, now the ICC, it's no more an organization of some private entities. It is an organization that is recognized throughout the world. People, if you meet the general traders or any traders, even conventional traders in the world, the terminologies that ICC have put forward, they are still using those terminologies. Okay, if you move to the next slide. Okay, guys, basically this discusses very briefly. This discusses the history of it. That like why it was founded and all this thing. So it's, I think you can see this yourself. This is for your knowledge. Next one. This is just a pictorial diagram of, again, the breakdown from 1919 to 2016, and we are in 2021. 21, there is no update. I mean, there is update, but it won't be published till the end of 21. We have the latest ICC for 2020. Let's move to the next one. Okay, guys, this is basically a very brief role of ICC. What we are trying to explain to you. International Chamber of Commerce, it has four big aims. Okay, guys, the biggest one is actually governance, which is on the top. Governance is, it gives you the rules, it gives you the terminologies, it gives you all the things which are required in trading. Okay, rules, because even it gives you the document formats of the document. If you're signing a contract, what the contract should include, and all the traders in the world are following their format. I will provide you with these formats as well when we move to that point. When we move to the point of what is a letter of intent or what is a SPA, sale and purchase agreement. Of course, I will provide you with these formats as well, but that is for the later stage, not for today. But second, after governance, the second biggest point would be, we are moving clockwise. Okay, the second biggest point would be arbitration. Arbitration is, there are many times that the, let's say, the buyer creates problems or the suppliers create problem. Let's say if I sold something to the buyer, after signing contract and after I have bought the product and all this thing from other supplier, the buyer says no, he does not want to buy it anymore, but I have already invested on that product. So arbitration is basically the ICC jumps in between and they try to solve our matter. Arbitration is like reconciliation. It's almost like they try to solve our problem. It's like a, it's not exactly a court, but ICC does have a court, but it's not exactly a court. They sit down in between and they listen to the buyer, they listen to the supplier, they determine whose fault is it, and they even determine the penalties and all this thing on other parties. Okay, third one would be partnerships and basically sponsorships. Okay, guys, partnership is sponsorship. ICC is providing you basically partnership to get into different, you can say, they're different, how should I say, subsidiaries. They even have academy and all this thing. They are providing you a list of buyers and suppliers. It's not exactly as good as other B2B portals, but still, they are trying to promote you through their references. Okay. The last thing is networking. Networking through ICC, it's like, if I want to, let's say, if I'm dealing into some remote area of Africa, there's a country in Africa by the name of Malawi. Okay, guys, some of you might not even have heard of this country. Okay, Malawi or Gambia or anything, But I'm just saying, if I want to basically deal with the Malawi, I would request ICC to help me out with their locals in Malawi, because ICC, since you have seen, it has presence in over 100 countries and all this thing. They would try to contact the local Chamber of Commerce of Malawi. Let's say it's MCCI, Malawi Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Okay, they would contact the Chamber of Commerce over there, and if I have a supplier over there, they would try to verify the supplier for me. Okay, this is where the networking comes in. Okay, guys. So this is the whole concept of ICC. Now, tell me this thing. Do we have questions about ICC? This is nothing big. I just wanted to introduce to you because you will keep hearing this word in the future as well. Do we have any question about ICC? Are we clear on this? Guys, if you're clear, just write yes or just open your mic and say yes. If you're not clear, if you have questions, feel free to ask right now before we move forward. Clear. Besides Faiza, I'm assuming everybody has question because it's only clear to Faiza. My dead audience, is this clear? Guys, are you alive? Thank you. Thank you. Repeat arbitration. Okay. Okay, Khushbu. Arbitration is basically, okay, we have a question, guys. Arbitration is basically, Khushbu, beta, it's like this, if I am, let's say, a supplier of, let's say, air conditioners, okay, and I sold my, let's say, 10,000 pieces of air conditioner to a buyer sitting in Malaysia, okay. Once I've bought the air conditioner from the market, I have done all the packaging and it's ready to be exported, okay, or even if it's exported, the buyer at the last moment, he says, no, I do not want to buy from you, okay. So what I do is basically since I've signed the contract with him, okay, and I've signed the ICC contract with him, that means the arbitration kicks in. I contact the arbitration board for ICC and I ask them to intervene and help me with this thing. What they do is basically they talk to the supplier, like me, they talk to the buyer as well. They see whose mistake is it. They try to solve it without a conflict. But if the conflict is inevitable, if the conflict is supposed to happen, then they put penalties or some sort of, you can say, punishments or basically repercussions for basically all this matters. Okay, it might be some financial penalty that the buyer has to pay me. Okay, or it might be the other stuff as well, that if they think that the buyer was some sort of involved into a fraud or he was trying to cheat or something like this, they might even blacklist him. Now, blacklisting a buyer, ICC has a list of blacklisted people over their website and over their domains and all this. If a buyer is blacklisted, believe me, with that name, with that passport, because in your contracts, even your passport copy is mentioned. With that name, with that passport, he can never deal in the market again. Because mostly people, when they're making the deal, they look through that passport numbers and countries and all this for blacklisted people as well. So this is the whole concept of arbitration. They want to basically sit down in as a middle person and try to resolve your matter. Is this correct, Khushba? Is this clear or should I explain again? Khushba, thank you. Okay, guys, let's move forward to the Incoterms. Okay, guys, Incoterms. Again, this is an ICC terminology. Incoterms means it's if you so arbitration is kind of audit. It's not exactly kind of audit, sir. It's I'll tell you something. Suppose, you know, if this is a very stupid example, but just listen to this thing. If you or your brother or your sister has some problem between you guys, let's say you guys are literally arguing over something or literally fighting over something, there's a very high chance that for arbitration, for resolving the conflict, you will call your mother or your father. Okay. As an adult, he will sit down with you, he will listen to both sides of the stories, and then he will determine whose mistake is it, and the other party would be saying sorry. Now, if the other party, the guilty party, is not saying sorry, okay, they would be probably punished by one of your parents. Punishment can be anything. When it comes to ICC, ICC is like a parent. Okay, one party is the buyer, one party is the supplier, and then ICC is the parent body. So they are there to make sure the trading is fair. Okay, sir, is this clear? It's not some sort of audit. Okay, mother, let's say. Anyway, guys, so coming back to this thing, introduction to Incoterms. Guys, Incoterms, it's a okay. Yeah, thank you, guys. Incoterms, it's basically it's a acronym. Incoterms is an acronym. It's a short form of. It's divided into three things. It's INCO and then terms. It's international commercial terminologies. I'm repeating again. International commercial terminologies. Okay. Now the Incoterms are basically international commercial terminologies given to you by ICC. Okay, and we'll see what are these Incoterms. But these are basically the short forms given to by ICC, and it is literally learned by all the traders by heart. Why? Because when you are providing a document or when you are dealing with someone, you just use this Incoterms instead of trying to explain, and the other person might not understand. Let's say I'm trying to say something. Okay, I'm trying to say that I need this product delivered at my doorstep. Okay, I'm buying a certain product from US and I need it delivered to my house in Pakistan. Okay, the person who is actually sitting in US, maybe he understood this thing, that I need this to buy this product from US, and I need to basically actually have it on the Pakistani port. He might have missed the part where I said I need it at my house, not at the port. I need it at my house. Okay, so to avoid this problem, guys, these are two different things. I do not need it at the port. At the port, I have to go there, I have to clear that products, I have to pay all the duties, I have to take a truck to pick up all the products and then bring it to my house. Okay, so instead of actually creating these type of, or just to avoid these type of confusions, ICC came up with some international commercial terminologies. Guys, there are more than 10 international commercial terminologies, but we will discuss the ones which are most frequently used. The others are hardly used, and they're used in some special businesses, not with everyone, but we'll use basically learn the ones which are most commonly used. Okay, this is again a slide. This is just a description. You can read it later. Let's move to the next one. Okay. Okay, guys. So basically, it's Incoterms are divided into these categories. Now, the funny part is the category starts from E. E, F, basically C, D, E, F. Okay. Now, the E thing is export and all this thing. I think we'll directly move to the Incoterms. All are discussed over there. We will discuss a few things. Let's move to the next slide. Export, guys. The first Incoterm we are actually talking about. Okay. So guys, wait. We have X work, we have FOB, we have CFR, we have CIF, DAP, DPUN. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are discussing basically 7 Incoterms over here. Okay. Quickly, we'll go through this thing and then I'll tell you what to do with this. Guys, X work is basically literally the, now listen to the whole concept of X work. Okay. X work, if you have pen and paper, and if you do not understand something, please just write down these points. Okay, guys, export is, I let's take example of a factory in let's say Pakistan. Okay, and let's take example of a buyer who is sitting in, let's say, London, UK. Okay, so the factory is in Karachi, Pakistan. The buyer is sitting in UK. Just consider, and we are supplying, let's say, textile stuff from Pakistan. I will be more specific. We are supplying towels, okay, or bed sheets, whatever you want to say. We are supplying from Pakistan to UK, and this is what we do in Pakistan as well, by the way. So, guys, export is basically that the London company, which is a buyer, they contact Pakistani company, which is a supplier, and then they say, we want to buy, for example, 500 pieces or 50,000 pieces or like 5 million pieces of basically these towels or bed sheets from you guys, and we want to buy it on X work basis. X work is without you incurring any cost of transportation or shipping or anything. We will buy, we'll pay for the goods, and we will pick it up from your factory in Pakistan. So the UK company is telling the Pakistani company that we will pick the goods up from your warehouse or from your factory. Okay, we'll come to your factory, or our representative would come to your factory, and they will pick it up from the factory. Okay, so this way, guys, there's a whole channel. If you do not understand this thing, I will first explain you the channel. Okay, the channel is basically, let's say, when the Pakistani company, they make bed sheets. Okay, then they hire a truck. They put the bed sheets in a container and they hire a truck. The truck takes those bed sheets to the port, seaport. From there, they basically hire a crane, because you cannot pick up the container like that. They hire machinery to basically put the container on the ship. Okay. Now, naturally, if it's on a ship, the ship would charge you the freight cost, the shipping cost. Shipping cost is called freight cost, FREIGHT. We'll see that again in the next slides. Okay. The freight cost. Maybe you are just cautious. You want to insure your product as well. Okay. So you're paying all these costs. Okay. No, it's not. It's carriage. It's in the other. And Jamila, I did not understand your message. Anyway, guys, so basically, after the goods are on the ship, you are paying for the insurance. Then the good reaches UK. At UK, again, you have to pay for the machinery or the crane cost, who will pick up the container and who will put it down on the port. Okay, machinery cost, labor cost, whatever it is. And then again, you have to pay, of course, the custom duties as well, because you want the import duties, what you call. You want to get it cleared from the port, the government duties. Okay, and then you have to hire another truck, which would bring your container to the UK buyer or the UK buyer factory, whatever it is. You know, so all these costs, all these things, basically, from the production company to the end selling company, these are all costs associated. Okay, and you have to make sure that you are all associating these costs and everything for, like, for end to end buying process. Guys, is this clear? Is this clear from this end? Up till now, is it clear? Okay, for Mustafa, it's clear. Guys, the process I explained, that's cool. That's cool. Okay. So, guys, X work is basically the whole process that I explained you. X work is basically the buyer is agreeing to pick up the goods from the factory of the supplier. Okay, without incurring any other logistic cost or shipping cost in any way. The buyer would directly pick up. So the supplier is basically just saying that I will charge you. Okay, I'll give you another example. We were talking about bed sheets. Okay, let's say a container of bed sheet cost us 10,000. Okay, 10,000 rupees, dollars, whatever you want to say, 10,000. When I put in logistic charges, the labor to pick up the goods and put it in the container and then put it on the truck, and the truck would charge me some cost. Okay, when I put in the logistic charges are, let's say, 2,000. Okay, so 10,000 plus 2,000. My cost now after adding logistic charges is 12,000. Then I take those products to the port. Then the port labor over there and the machinery over there, they charge me, let's say, 500. Okay, to pick the container up and put it on the ship. Now the total cost of my shipment is 12,500. 10,000 for the product itself, 2,000 for the logistic, 500 for the labor charges that were basically paid on port. Now I put the container on the ship and I decide basically this thing for the. Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Anyway, so guys, basically then I put all these now my container cost. Once I decide with the shipper how much is the cost of shipment and all this thing, he says, let's say 1,500. So now my total cost of the container plus the shipping cost The total cost is basically 12,500 plus 1,500. That comes to 14,000. When the ship reaches, let's say I want to even insure my goods. I ask for the insurance. They say we'll charge you 1,000 for insurance of the whole container. I'm like, okay, maybe if I want to be very cautious. So my container cost becomes 15,000 now. Then it reaches the port of destination, the buyer's port. There the basically again, the custom duties are paid, whatever they are. Let's say again 500. So now it's 15,500. And again, logistic cost to take it to the buyer's factory. So it's again, if it's 1,500, so 15,500 plus 1,500, that would be 17,000. So originally, the price of my goods were 10,000, but due to all the extra costs which were added and all this thing, it ended up as 17,000. Okay, and I'm talking about X work in Incoterms. In X work, the buyer will not pay 17,000 to me. He would directly pay 10,000. Why? Because all the other costs are borne by the buyer. The buyer is bearing those costs. The extra 7,000 cost with the logistic, with the shipping, with the clearing and XYZ, everything is borne by the buyer. My job is only to actually give the buyer product at my factory. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Besides Shahrukh, is it clear to other people as well?
Yes, sir, clear.
That's cool. Okay, guys, let's move to the next slide. The FOB. Okay, guys, FOB, free on board, or some people call it freight on board. Okay, but the ICC term, free on board. Guys, this is the second step after X work, basically. Some people say, I do not want to buy on X work basis, I want to buy on FOB basis. Now, the FOB means basically, guys, if you have paper in front of you, can you just write down the shipping steps? Okay, just write step number 1 is factory, supplier factory. Okay, now step 2 is basically the just write a logistic. Step 3, right? Let's say loading charges or loading port charges, if you want to write that way. Whereas step 4 is shipping charges, or what we call freight charges. FREIGHT, freight. Okay, shipping or freight charges. That's step 4. As step 5, the unloading charges at the destination port. Step 6 is basically the logistic cost to the buyer factory. Are we done? Guys, are we on the same page again? Did you all write these steps?
Yes, sir.
Everybody? Okay, done. Okay, guys, this is with the assumption that we do not. This is with the assumption that we do not have right now the import and export duties. Okay, let's just keep it simple. I think you do understand who is paying import duty and who's paying. What is between freight in and freight out charges? Okay. I think you are asking, sir, you're asking strictly from accounting point of view, where we say carriage inward and carriage outward. Okay. Freight in charges are basically, this is carriage inward and carriage outward are both used internally. One is for bringing in the products to the factory, raw material to the factory when it would be manufactured. Freight out charges are when you send the raw material out of the basically the finished product out of the factory. In when we are talking about Incoterms, we are talking about freight out, not freight in. Okay, but let's not go into that detail. Otherwise, our other audience would be, sir, are you from an accounting background? Anyway, she'll just reply. Anyway, guys. So, guys, FOB, the steps that you have written, FOB is includes basically the cost of your product plus the logistic charges, which is your step number 2. Okay, and plus the shipping. Till sorry, not the shipping. I'm doing BBA. Okay, guys, not the shipping part, but itself, but it includes the cost of the product, the logistic from the supplier factory to the port, and then the loading charges. What did we write loading charges as step 3? Guys, what was our step 3? Anyone? Sharesh, Shahrukh? Anyone, guys? Port loading charges, yes.
Step 3 was loading port charges.
Loading port charges. So FOB is still step 3. Okay. X work was only step 1. Okay. That the buyer has to come to the factory and he has to do everything himself. When you talk about FOB, it's still step 3. Supplier has to make the product. He has to basically do the logistic to the port, and then he has to load the container on the top of the ship as well. Okay. Inside the ship as well. So that is FOB. So guys, understand this thing. The more steps you add into this thing, you add for the supplier, the more cost of the product will increase, but the supplier has to have more capital as well, because now he is not just producing bed sheets, he is paying for the trucks as well, and he's paying for the loading charges which are there on the port as well. Okay, so just understand these things. Some supplier would say we'll do FOB, some would say we'll not do FOB. It totally depends on the supplier. Guys, moving to the next Incoterm, that is CFR, or what we call in CNF as well. Cost and freight. CNF or CFR, cost and freight. That's it. Okay. In Pakistan, this is one of the most used term. Okay. Cost and freight. Guys, as its name, cost and freight basically means that you are paying the cost, and the freight basically the shipping charges. Okay, the supplier. When I say you, I mean the supplier. So that means naturally people think that the supplier is not paying for the steps in between. Of course he's paying for the step in between as well. So now you are covering till point number 4. Okay, what you do is, guys, you the supplier actually, from his he makes a product from his factory, he does the logistic as well, he does the loading on the ship as well, plus he pays the shipping charges as well. Okay, for the ship as well he pays the charges that you have to basically, whatever the shipping charges are, he's paying for that as well. Okay, FOB and CFR, the only difference is, till FOB it stops when the product is on the ship. The CFR, it actually includes the shipping charge as well, so now the supplier has to pay an additional charge as well. Guys, is this clear? So the basically the supplier is doing till point number 4. Clear? Done. Guys, let's move to the next one. CIF, cost, insurance, and freight. It is exactly as CFR. The only difference is that there's insurance included as well. Okay. So basically the buyer is saying that I want to buy products from this supplier. I want to buy 10 containers of bed sheets, but I want all of them to be insured as well. So naturally, it is exactly a CFR, but the cost would rise a little bit more because there is insurance for every container as well. Okay, this is the only difference between CFR and CIF. Okay, can we move to the next slide? Guys, DAP, delivery at place. Okay, guys, this is one of the coming DAP to DDP. Basically from DAP, then you have DPU and DDP. These are the last Incoterms which we are discussing, and these are most comprehensive Incoterms. Okay. So, guys, DAP is delivery at place. Okay, delivery at literally place means that the buyer, the buyer asks the supplier that he has to deliver bed sheets to UK to his warehouse now. The supplier has to deliver the bed sheets to the buyer warehouse in UK. Okay, so it's delivery at place. Basically, the supplier has to deliver at the place of the buyer. Okay, guys. So this means all the steps are included. So who claims insurance case of damage or loss by a supplier? See, understand this thing. It depends on your. There's a question: who claims insurance if there is damage to the product? Okay, when we are talking about paying freight charges and all this thing, it is naturally, if you are agreeing to this thing, guys, we'll understand this thing when we come to the financial instruments. Some buyers say we will pay you at destination port. When the goods have come to my port, I will check the goods and then I will pay you. In that case, the insurance will go to the supplier. But if the buyer says once it's on ship and the ship is leaving and you give me the bill of lading copy, the documents for the shipping, then it becomes the liability of the buyer, and any loss to the goods are paid to the buyer. As we will discuss this in the future. Okay, I have to still explain you what is bill of lading and everything. Write these questions down. Do ask me in the future as well. Okay, guys, DAP delivery at place basically till it includes all the points. Besides this thing, that the supplier is not paying the import duty that the buyer in UK is supposed to pay. Okay, the supplier is basically paying for making the product, for the logistic, for the shipping, for the export duty, and then for, like, unloading of the product at the UK port. He's not paying the import duty of the buyer. The buyer has to pay that himself, and then he's arranging for the logistic to take the goods to the buyer warehouse as well. Okay, guys, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, guys, then we move to this new point, which is TPU in the next slide. Okay, so it's exactly like DAP, but it says delivery at place unloaded as well. Now, basically, the unloading on the previous part, we missed a point. In DAP, you are not, you are taking the goods till the buyer warehouse. Okay, in UK, from a warehouse in Pakistan, you're bearing all these costs and you're taking the truck to the buyer warehouse as well. Now the buyer is telling you that the labor charges or the machinery charges of unloading the product. Okay, guys, we are talking about big factories where unloading actually requires huge machinery. Okay, suppose if you are buying oil and all this thing, unloading would be a very delicate process, and it has to be very safe, and the ambulances are there and the fire brigades are there and all this thing. It's a expensive process as well. So the buyer is basically saying you have to deliver at my place, plus you have to unload the product as well. Okay, so you are paying another additional labor cost or the machinery cost for unloading the product at the buyer warehouse. Okay, so between DAP and DPU, there's only difference of an additional unloading cost is also entered. Okay, again, the buyer is not paying the import charges. Sorry, the supplier is not paying the import charges, but he is still paying the unloading charges. Okay, guys, finally the last slide, which is DDP. Okay, this is like literally everything. Delivery duty paid, everything, as in from supplier warehouse to buyer warehouse. Okay, supplier bears all the costs, all the duties, all the unloading cost, all the loading cost, all the shipping cost, all the insurance cost, everything. The product reaches the supplier. Sorry, the product reaches the buyer. He sees the product and he's happy with it, and then he pays for the good of the product. DDP is similar to what you say on cash on delivery. You get the product, at your place. You're not concerned with the taxes, you're not concerned with all the handling cost, all the basically, the these cost, delivery cost and everything. You just get the product and you pay your seller with the final amount. You are not concerned with any of the cost. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay, guys. Then again, last slide. Okay, guys. So the thing is, this was again, one hell of a boring thing, guys. It's been a very, very, very long time that I have actually started this thing. Doing this whole thing again, it feels like going back to the basics, but it was fun. Very boring, fun, boring and fun together. Anyway, guys, these are the credentials. These are the credentials. If you want to reach me, this is my email address. That is my LinkedIn name, and we definitely have a WhatsApp group, guys. Okay, I hope you all are on the WhatsApp group because we will send you the slides on the WhatsApp group. Okay, so can we move from screen sharing to just video for 5 minutes? Okay, here we are again. So, guys, my people, are you still alive?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, guys. Okay, guys, alive. Wonderful. Alhamdulillah. Cool. Anyway, guys, the thing is, I understand this thing. Sometimes these things, these kind of things can be extremely boring if you're just listening to it. Okay. It's definitely not as the personal interaction, but things would get interesting. These are still just for your knowledge. Things would get interesting once you start to actually practice basically all these terminologies and everything on your real practical terms. Okay. Things would get interesting and then. So, oh, I see someone. Anyway, guys, do one thing. Do join the WhatsApp group. I am on the group as well. If you need me, if you think you have a question that should be answered, if it's a question that you think it's a genuine question just regarding the whole lecture that we have covered, feel free to answer in the group. Okay. But if you think it's a personal question and all this, feel free to reach me personally as well. If you want to share a file, you have my email address. I'm going to share these slides on the group as well. Okay. So, guys, is there anything that you want to tell me right now? No, yes, no. Guys, if there's nothing, please say no.
No, sir.
Perfect. Okay, guys. So, guys, we are basically meeting each other again on basically next week, hopefully same time. We'll update you on the WhatsApp group. Do join the WhatsApp group, and again, thank you for your time. I hope you did not die in the session, and but just believe me, you will get used to it once in a while. Okay. Thank you, guys. Take care of
Thank
yourself.
you,
Till
sir.
next week we'll meet. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah.